Good morning, I'm Madeline Edwards.
And I'm Teddy Caputo. Breaking news right now. 49 people dead this morning. Authorities are investigating after a mass shooting is reported at 2 New Zealand mosques, the latest from CNN.
New Zealand's Prime Minister calling it one of the darkest days in her country's history.
Clearly what has happened here is an extraordinary and unprecedented act of violence.
Dozens of deaths after shootings at 2 mosques Friday afternoon local time.
I've never could believe that something like this would ever happen in the city of Christchurch, but actually I would never believe that this would ever happen in New Zealand.
One witness said he was inside the mosque when the shooting began and that he heard the gunman continuously shooting for 10 to 15 minutes. A journalist also heard the shots.
What I did was basically waiting for that and praying to God, oh God, please, let this guy run out of bullets.
The injured were taken to the hospital for medical treatment.
The injuries ranging from gunshot wounds to the head and face and arms, legs and torso, and soft tissue injuries.
Officials in U.S. cities, including Los Angeles, Minneapolis, and New York, say they will be adding extra security around mosques out of abundance of caution. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
President Trump expressed his condolences to the people of New Zealand this morning.
It's a big weekend for Bonnie-Nation. SBU-TV takes you to the Big Apple in Brooklyn this week. The St. Bonaventure men's basketball team will look to earn a pair of dancing shoes. Face off against George Mason in the Atlantic 10 quarterfinals. At the Barclays Center, the Bonnies will look to win their second ever A10 championship this weekend. Winning the tournament would secure them a spot in the NCAA tournament. SBU-TV's Sean Hickey is in Brooklyn and will be bringing you coverage on our social media.
Olean apartment meth raid. Police say it's the second bust at the same location. SBU-TV's Nicholas Gallo reports 2 people connected to the case are on the run this morning.
Town area of Olean with Olean High School and Family Dollar within walking distance. This house in the past 7 months has been raided twice in regards to methamphetamine. Courtney Guinea was charged Friday, March 2nd for child endangerment. Tyler Harding also has a warrant for his arrest, was charged in September with unlawful manufacture of methamphetamine. According to an Olean police report, the Street Crimes Unit assisted sheriff's deputies in a search for wanted man Tyler Harding. In this building, in the lower apartment, where they found meth-making materials inside this particular window here. Authorities swarmed the street just before midnight on February 27th. Captain of the Olean Police Department, Robert Belowski, was at the scene and describes what happened that night.
The Sheriff's Department had gone there. They were trying to get in to see if they could find that individual. In doing so, they saw some meth-making materials.
According to police records, at least 10 city residents in Olean, including this house, were found with meth-making materials, and a total of 23 people have been charged in connection in the past year. Britley Chapuso, a mother of 2, has grew up in the area since she was a little girl. She explains her concerns regarding the incident.
It's kind of sad. I mean, when we were younger, we were able to literally, and I know it sounds silly, but we were able to run until the streetlights came on. I just hope that people wake the heck up, because it's not good.
I'm Nicholas Gallo, SBU-TV, New Now Next.
There's no word on where the suspects could be at this very moment. Stay tuned next week for more.
The Olean Family Dollar Store will receive a makeover this spring. SBU-TV's Megan Burke has the story.
Recently, the Dollar Tree bought out Family Dollar, and they're closing 390 stores. Luckily, our local Olean Family Dollar is not one that's being shut down, but it is one of 1,000 that will be getting renovations currently. An assistant store manager at Olean Family Dollar said they will not shut down, but instead will stay open during the renovation and name change. A spokeswoman for Dollar Tree said corporate plans to renovate 1,000 stores, rename 200 Family Dollars, and close as many as 390 Family Dollar stores. Despite the closing, Dollar Tree is also planning to open 550 stores in new locations. The spokeswoman refused to provide a list of stores that will be shut down. For SBU-TV, I'm Megan Burke.
We'll be keeping up with the Family Dollar renovations on our social media. Bonner Response headed to North Carolina to help with hurricane relief, plus a look into the history of women at St. Bonaventure. SBU-TV, new now next.
It's been 6 months since Hurricane Florence, and
look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Staring contest! You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back. Students from St. Bonaventure University gave up their spring break to help victims of Hurricane Florence. SBU-TV's Brendan O'Leary reports.
It's been 6 months since Hurricane Florence, and people are now just returning to their homes. Thanks to the tireless efforts of FEMA and volunteer organizations, things are finally looking up for North Carolina on her road to recovery. One such volunteer group, St. Bonaventure University's own Bonner Response, a university organization comprised mainly of student volunteers, traveled to Wilmington, North Carolina to help people recover from Florence.
Well, we started after Hurricane Katrina in 2005, and I think this is about my 110th or 112th, somewhere in that range, trip.
The group worked tirelessly, gutting houses and putting up drywall. They met many people affected by the hurricane, but one man stood out to the crowd.
I think Ray has been like my favorite, and because he's like been through so much, and he's just so grateful, and he just always wants to give back and never like knows how to like receive.
Raymond Foy was a former Green Beret in the United States Armed Forces and received his PhD in nuclear physics from Duke University.
You know, we've been through 1,000 hurricanes, so we didn't see the urgency of moving. However, the hurricane got right over top of us and stopped. This house here, you know, we had a tree on top of it, we had flooding from the bottom. Basically, the whole house was demolished.
It will be many more months before most of the damage caused by the hurricane will be repaired. This has been Brendan O'Leary bringing you New Now Next.
Ray's house has now been fully repaired, and his sister and 91-year-old mother are now moved in.
We're halfway through Women's History Month. SBU-TV's Roisin Coleman took a look at the history of women students at St. Bonaventure University.
St. Bonaventure University opened up to female students in 1922.
However, until 1942, those women took classes here at St. Elizabeth's Academy, right down the street from St. Bonaventure University.
When male students left for World War II, women at St. Elizabeth's were invited to attend day classes on St. Bonaventure's campus. After the war, the university expected to return to an all-male university. However, that wasn't the case. Instead of pushing out all the women, the university let them stay. The Bonaventure Women's Council began in the 1944 to 1945 school year. It was created to give women full recognition as students in a college that did not intend to become co-ed. Dennis Frank, the university's archivist, says it wasn't easy for women when the university became co-ed.
They were abused, verbally. People were rude to them on campus, in the dining hall.
Carol McNall graduated from Bonaventure in 1975. She said she didn't experience mistreatment from the men.
Part of it was my assumption is, oh, hey, I can do this. Wait, you think I can't do it because I'm a girl? Pfft, go away.
Fast forward to 1989, and Bonaventure's female student population exceeded the males. Now, women make up 46% of Bonaventure's student population. For SBU-TV, I'm Roisin Coleman.
Professors from the Jandoli School created their own March Madness bracket in light of Women's History Month. SBU-TV's Amanda Oliver explored the deeper meaning behind this bracket.
A clueless girl sparked an idea which gave birth to the March into Women's History bracket. This week marks its third annual women's bracket with the theme of advocacy. Dr. Pauline Hoffman explains the importance of March into Women's History Month.
Obviously, it's important to me, but also having been in a leadership position, I see how hard it is sometimes to be at that table, especially when you're the only woman at that table. So I think it's important that we say, especially as educators, to our students and to young people, the fight's not over. We're still fighting these battles.
I'm here in the women's basketball locker room here at St. Bonaventure University, where they have a mural of connected women. And what better visual to embrace Women's History Month than connected women? Women are empowering themselves left and right all over this diverse world. I spoke to some empowering women here on St. Bonaventure's campus, and here's what they had to say about their month.
I think that throughout all the cool stories that are on about the amazing women in our program, in our profession, I think it gets highlighted.
Women's History Month should be just as important. We're just as much as a minority as, African Americans or other ethnicities and cultures.
We, all the women in the world should speak up, because every time each woman stands up, that woman stands up for all the women in the world.
Feelings, because I think we're seen to be a certain type, or we're supposed to do a certain thing, when we're just as individual as men, and we can do whatever we want.
I'm Amanda Oliver, SBU-TV.
I'm proud to be a woman.
Bringing you new, now, next.
The March into Women's History Month bracket lasts until March 28th. To get involved, head to www.bonabrave.com to vote. A look into a new smoke alarm law, plus a local school received some help from a St. Patrick's Day fundraiser. All this and more, stay tuned.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back. On April 1st, New York State will only sell smoke detectors with non-removable batteries. I went to the Olean City Fire Department to find out more. I'm at the City of Olean Fire Department, where I found out more about smoke detector safety. I spoke to Captain Edward Jennings of the City of Olean Fire Department about why New York is switching to these detectors.
The problem with smoke detectors is the batteries go bad, or people take the batteries out and they're not any good. So if they have a self-enclosed smoke detector with a 10-year life battery in it. You don't have to look at the battery at all, and it's going to be good for the 10-year life.
He said that if you still have a battery-operated smoke detector, it's safe to use, but you need to check the batteries every 6 months to make sure they're working. And don't use a smoke detector for longer than 10 years. The main sign to indicate you need a battery change is a beeping noise that goes off every 2 minutes.
If you don't have this smoke detector, this is your smoke detector, and if you do have a fire, by the time you smell smoke, it's usually too late.
I'm Madeline Edwards with SBU-TV. New Now Next. According to the Olean Fire Department, it's important to have at least one smoke detector on every floor of your house.
What does a local St. Paddy's Day fundraiser mean this year to an Olean private school after an 8% cut in its budget? I went to Archbishop Walsh Academy to find out. Archbishop Walsh Academy raises $200,000 a year from their two biggest fundraisers, the Eagles Gala Auction and the St. Patrick's Day Party and Raffle. However, the Catholic Diocese of Buffalo cut $100,000 from Walsh's budget this past year. Diocesan officials said compensating victims of clergy sexual abuse in Western New York was among the reasons for the cut. As a result, the school had to cut back on new school supplies, reading textbooks, and hardware for their technology department. I'm standing in the middle of the Walsh Gymnasium where the school hosts its annual St. Paddy's Day fundraiser. A source at the school confirmed to me that a few former faculty members in the 1970s and 80s were on the list of accused clergymen in the scandal. Although this was the case, the community has given Walsh a lot of support for the fundraiser, and the school is optimistic that it won't face any more setbacks from the budget cut.
We have a lot of people that don't have any real affiliation with the school that buy tickets to this event because, one, it's a fun time and they can win money, but two, they like to support children. People view this school as a real community institution. They want it to succeed.
We have folks here who are saying, okay, that's just a setback. That's not fatal. It's not something that we can't handle. We certainly can handle it, and we will raise money. We've had people step forward too, apart from and separate from fundraisers, saying, I'm an alum, or I'm a community member, and I remember Walsh, and I want it to stay open, so here's a big gift.
One of these gifts was a hefty donation last year from the alumni class of 1973, giving Archbishop Walsh. The fundraiser takes place next Saturday, March 23rd.
The city of Olean will revitalize Lincoln Park and add a farmer's market. The farmer's market will place at the heart of Olean. However, some residents have issues with the project. Jocelyn Person spoke with Olean Mayor Bill Alio to find out more.
The city of Olean will revitalize Lincoln Park by putting in a farmer's market. While it's called the farmer's market, there will be vendors, outdoor activities, and much more right in the heart of Olean. However,
many don't agree with the city revitalizing the park into a farmer's market. Why? Well, they're worried about the city cutting down the trees.
Mayor Bill Alio explains that the city won't cut down the trees within the park, and the project will bring new attractions and people to downtown.
We're not cutting down all the trees. We're going to be very sensitive about that. What trees that do come down, where we can replace a tree, we're going to replace a tree. So it's not like we're bulldozing the park in and cutting down all the trees. A place where people can gather and then celebrate together. It'll give us the market there where people, you know, it's highly visible for people driving into town, and it's going to just it's part of our revitalization of the downtown area.
Jeff Belt, one of many who donated $70,000 for the project, describes how the project will benefit the city of Olean.
Something fun to do on a Saturday morning. You know, we're talking about a little bistro, all the nice things that you can get at a farm market, local crafts, great organic food, a band playing, a little playground for the kids, a nice park environment, all right in downtown Olean.
You know, it's exciting. Change is difficult.
Jocelyn Person, SBU-TV, New Now Next.
The construction of the project will start at the end of this month and is expected to be completed by mid-June.
Have you ever wondered how your maple syrup becomes so sweet and savory? SBU-TV's Maya Capolino visited a maple farm to learn more.
How the aromatic smell of maple syrup is in the spring air. With the temperatures rising, maple farm owners like Paul Stewart begin harvesting their sugar, starting with the tapping process.
What it takes is cold nights where it's, you know, in the 20s,
at night, and then warming up into the 40s or so in the daytime is about perfect temperature, and that's what we have in Western New York right now.
The next step is reverse osmosis. The machine forces the water from the sap through a membrane where it's then discarded, eventually pushing the concentrated sugar into the evaporators. In this step, they are turning the sap into syrup.
And the way that we do it is we just boil off all the water.
Wood is placed repeatedly into the boiler to maintain the temperature to around 220 degrees Fahrenheit. To keep the taste, clarity, and color, the filtering process is an important part. Then, the syrup is ready to be bottled at 180 degrees. After touring Paul's farm, I was able to get my own taste of maple syrup. In the last 2 weekends of March, over 110 maple farm producers will have open houses for the public to come and see how their syrup is made. I'm Maya Capolino with SBU-TV, New, Now, Next.
A tree takes about 40 years to grow before it's big enough to tap. Aaron Lanahan does an Irish gig. Plus, we sit down with a former Bonaventure basketball player. SBU-TV, New, Now, Next.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Staring contest!
You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Because of you, I felt hopeless.
I know it was a joke, but it still hurt me.
Because of you, I felt wanted and not alone in this world.
Because you said hi to me on the first day of school, I felt included and I knew that I was going to be okay.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
I guess I have really been looking for love in this dating app. Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school and I didn't do it. My support team never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew who I could become as a person. I've been given an opportunity and I'm just thankful for it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Sometimes the things we do or say can make others feel hurt, excluded, or isolated. Everything you say and do creates an impact.
How am I supposed to save the whole world?
You can't think about saving the world. You have to think about saving one person.
Because of you, someone's entire life can change. You don't have to be a superhero to have a positive impact.
Friends?
Friends.
Welcome back. 2 days away from St. Patrick's Day and celebrations are in full swing. Well, there are many different ways to embrace Irish culture. Aaron Lanahan went to Buffalo to learn a traditional Irish dance.
When you hear the phrase Irish dance, you may be picturing this. There are a bunch of different types of dance, such as this group dance. I'm here at the Buffalo Irish Center, where I'm about to go into the next room and learn a very special Irish dance called Céilí. A Céilí is known as a traditional Scottish or Irish social gathering. It's a type of folk dancing from Ireland. One person calls the moves while all the couples follow along. Tim Straub's love for Irish culture inspired him to lead a Céilí group for almost 20 years.
It's a very integral part of Irish culture, the music, the dance, the language.
Tim also shared this historical dance influenced our American culture.
It's not what you would see the little kids doing with the bouncy girls. That's called step dancing. What we do is adult dancing, which is what became square dancing when the Irish brought it to this country in the 1800s.
One of the dancers joined the group after visiting Ireland.
During a trip to Ireland, I was with my cousins and they took me to a ceilidh, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, what is this? It was fun. So I couldn't believe it when I found that it was like here in Buffalo.
Tim's wife, Diana, encourages more people to try the dance out.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, I think that people are missing out if they don't give it at least a try.
So I had to give it a shot. It's an Irish tradition for both young children and adults to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Erin Lanahan, SBU-TV, New Now Next.
The Buffalo Irish Center holds Irish step classes on Tuesdays at 6 p.m.
Lent just finished its first 7 of its 40 days. But what exactly is Lent, and what are some good things to give up for this tradition? Lily Stevens finds out.
Wednesday marked the first week of Lent, which runs this year from March 6th to April 18th.
But what is Lent anyways? I spoke to historic theologian Kyle Hayden for more answers.
Well, it's a 40 days preparation for the celebration of the death and resurrection of Jesus. And it is the time, it's a penitential time for Catholics to examine their lives, to see where they need to change and become more like Christ because of the fact that our tradition believes that Jesus came and died for our sins, and so we need to recognize that we are sinners, that we need to become more Christ-like in our lives. And so it's a time of stripping things away that have kept us from that relationship with Christ.
Friar Hayden also had some tips for people participating in Lent.
Well, first of all, you have to become more conscious of what you're holding on to, and I think you have to reflect on why you're holding on to it. But a big part of it is learning to be more prayerful, taking it to God and asking God for the grace to let go of things. I like to ask myself questions like, well, what good is it doing to hold on to a particular grudge or whatever it might be, or if I'm angry at somebody? It doesn't mean that I necessarily let go of it, it's just that I'm aware that this is what is impeding my deeper relationship with God and with other people.
Lily Stevens, SBU-TV, New Now Next.
Fun fact, Lent doesn't count Sundays, so if you gave up a favorite dessert, you now have a cheat day.
With March Madness and A10s in full swing, SBU-TV's Zach Murphy met one former St. Bonaventure basketball player who was involved with a lot of our basketball triumphs.
Welch grabs it, here's Stockard in front, and gets the bucket.
Basketball is ingrained in St. Bonaventure University history. Many great Bona players have contributed to that history on this court right here behind me. One in particular is Bob Sasson. Bob's road to Bonaventure began in Madison Square Garden, where he was playing in the All-New York City basketball tournament.
As a result of being in that tournament, I got about 40 letters, and one was an invitation to St. Bonaventure.
Bob played for the Bonnies for 4 years, leading the team to 2 NIT tournaments. Following graduation, Bob was drafted by the Army, tried out for the Philadelphia Warriors, and soon after, Eddie Donovan, his former coach, gave him a call about coaching position. Bob had only one question.
That means if I take this job, I can get free tuition?
Bob coached while getting a degree in history and education. He coached for 4 years until Eddie left. Bob then focused on teaching and coaching high school basketball. It wasn't long before he rejoined Bonaventure.
I get a call, ask me if I want to be help out at Bonaventure again.
Bob came back as a recruiter and assistant coach, where during his time at Bonnis saw an NCAA advancement to the Final Four and an NIT victory. All of Bob's hard work led to his induction to the St. Bonaventure Athletic Hall of Fame in 1990.
To me, that's the best thing that ever happened to me.
I'm Zachary Murphy with SBU-TV, New Now Next.
This fall makes 70 years since Bob Sassoon began playing at St. Bonaventure. That's all we have for today.
Don't forget to check out our social media for more updates.
With SBU-TV, I'm Madeline Edwards.
And I'm Teddy Caputo. Have a great and safe St. Paddy's Day weekend.